How's it going, dudes? See if something's working real quick. How's it going, dude? Awesome, the chat's actually coming on screen. Yo! How's your weeks going? Let me know if the music and stuff is too loud or if I'm too quiet and stuff like that. Sweet. Slow as how we do in 2021 and 2020. Music's a little loud. Cool. Turn it down a little bit. Hope that's a little bit better. Or I can just start talking louder. That'll also fix it. So what have y'all been up to? I've been playing way too much Minecraft. It is, not gonna lie, swallowed my free time a little bit. Oh, nice, dude. What were you streaming? Fair enough. I've been umming and ahhing about streaming Minecraft myself, because my computer's alright for streaming this sort of stuff and like capturing, but all the technology is like what 6 or 7 years old now, so I don't know how well it's actually going to deal with games anymore. Like it dealt pretty well with Minecraft when it first came out, but then I've not done anything with it for a long time. Fair. So what else have I been up to this week? Oh, thank you, man. I appreciate that. I have been. The art community is a weird thing because it doesn't. Depending on like where you are, where you're at, it can be a wildly different place. So, I've been drawing for like as long as I can remember, but have I been in the art community? Not a huge amount. Mainly because I'm terrible at like maintaining friendships and contact with other artists. Like I'll see people at conventions and stuff, and we'll get along with like a house on fire, and then I'll completely forget to like get their name or like their Twitter handle or anything like that. So I'll spend like a good half an hour to an hour after meeting someone, like scouring Twitter or Instagram, trying to find something I recognize from their stand, and it can go here or there. So have I been in the art community for a long time? I've been about it. But that's something I'm trying to get a lot better at. Though some with streaming is hopefully going to be meeting a lot more artists and actually like talking to them a lot more and engaging with people a lot more. 'Cause I am very much an old man when it comes to like social media and the internet and stuff like that. Like I was raised on the internet like anyone else, like born in like mid 90s, but like I'm terrible for like even just leaving likes and comments on people's stuff. So I'll look at something and go, cool, I really like that, and just continue on my day and not like actually register my engagement with it in any sort of way. So hopefully this will help me figure that stuff out. Where's this tentacle go? Oh, thank you, man. I'll make sure to give you a follow as well, being in the Noodle Clan. Which is like another step for me, like actually trying to get out there and meet people proper and like actually be part of communities. Hey man, it all helps. I hardly want to be one of these people that just goes, "Oh, if you can like me and like follow me and subscribe and stuff like that, that'd be a real big hand," but then never actually return the favor. Because again, I've been guilty of that before, where someone's gone, "Let's help each other out." I go, "Cool, yeah, I'll get to it," and then I never think about it ever again. So yeah, this is very much like the start of like a new online presence for me, which I'm still getting to like pretty much getting to grips with. Like what, like half an hour or an hour ago, I was in the Discord group going like, guys, how do you put the chat on screen? Like, do we still just send letters in the post or like what? So I'm using Procreate on my iPad because I'm not gonna lie, I'm addicted to, or like, I'm terrified of not having like Control Z or an undo button. So anyone that does things like pen and pencil or like traditional media has a huge amount of respect for me because I know I can never. Well, now I've gotten used to all this, I can never go back to how it used to be. So I'm using Procreate on an iPad Pro. It's like it's basically like the new gold standard for digital artists in a lot of ways. And honestly, I used to use a Wacom with Photoshop, but I found myself wanting to go to like loads of like drawing hangouts, meetups, and things like that. But being a digital artist anchored to a PC, I couldn't join in and go and bring like my artwork with me because I'd be going like, okay, cool. How do I hold a pencil again? Like the muscle memory is completely gone for me. So I spend the entire like afternoon like around all these artists drawing brilliantly, and I'm there like 4 years old with my crayons trying to get inside the lines still. I was like, do you know what? I need to be more mobile. Also, I'm not familiar with Ibis Paint X. We'll have to chuck a link to your work up in the chat because I will. Now it's going to be out there in public. I will check out your stuff if it's made public or anything like that. It does, yeah. It's something I've not dabbled with too much. The animation on Procreate, purely because like I do comic and sort of like D&D characters and stuff, so not a huge amount of moving things. Um, so again, it's with Twitch is something like all the emotes and like things like that I want to make myself, but use all the animation stuff. So using it all in Procreate to like really have a play around with that stuff. Because I had Procreate for a while, and then they sort of added the animation stuff. But the update didn't like do a very good job of actually telling you, hey, there's all this new stuff you can do. So there's me and a couple of other artists that used to will all use Procreate, and then one day we just went, hey, did you know there's all this animation stuff that they added? And we're all just like blank faces, no. I toyed with Illustrator a little bit, but I can't remember why. I think it's because I went to uni for like games design and stuff like that, and all the stuff that they use there, it all has to be like PNGs and stuff like that. It's not like vector friendly stuff. So I ended up using Photoshop a lot more than Illustrator, even though really for this kind of work, Illustrator would do a very good job of it. The clue's in the name, it's Illustrator. Um, so I've never like experimented with a huge amount of vector stuff, and I've not heard of any um, like go-to tools on iPad for vectors. No worries, man. Take it easy. I'll catch you next time, maybe, or whenever you're online as well. So I'm just running through all these tentacles real quick before I tackle the mess that is going to be this mouth. Which I don't know if you can properly see it yet. Um, but rather than just having like the tongue holding like hanging out like most mimics, it's going to be a what's like a lamprey sort of a mouth, and like the Demogorgon from Stranger Things has. But I thought that fits quite well for a creature that's gonna like ambush you, try and like grab you and drag you into its maw, rather than just being mysteriously sticky like a lot of mimics are. So another thing I think streaming artwork is going to show everyone is how little I actually plan out a lot of my artwork. Like my sketches compared to like my ink work is like heinous. Like you're not like the kind of art sort of faux pas that you're not allowed to really do. So I think we've actually raced through all these testicles, these tentacles here. Um, and then we're going to actually move on to the chest proper. So I'm just getting all these corner pieces on. I draw all the points that I need the mimic to be contained within. Then it'll be easier to actually finish up. So I've been wanting to draw a Mimic for a long time because they're one of my favourite monsters to use in D&D. Like, other than, well, I think it's basically anything like horrendously grotesque, like Beholders, your Mind Flayers, your Mimics. Anything that can lean itself to like some John Carpenter style body horror, like The Thing. I get a lot of stick from my players when I DM for describing like the body horror like aspect of Mimics, like turning from an object to a creature too well, like how the metal shifts and squirms like beneath your fingers. Like, I definitely saw things like The Thing and The Fly way too young, and it's influenced me ever since. So just putting in a little bit of wrinkle to what should be like an iron frame to the chest, but because it's actually a squishy meat monster, you have it deforming in a way that doesn't look quite right for the material it's supposed to be made of. Really sells that this thing is not what it seems. And then I think something I did with the Beholder I drew last week, which I actually really enjoyed, or like really thought paid off, was giving the tentacles and sort of like that exposed meat of the creature, almost like ribbing. So you see like spare ribs where you have like almost like ribs of meat. It gives it a real nasty, like fleshy, sort of unnatural form to it, which everyone hates. So of course I absolutely have to use. So where do we want to go next? I reckon the top of this chest. So I'm always in two minds with Mimics, whether the lip of the actual chest itself, this bit here, whether that wants to be covered in teeth or not. And I usually err on the side of yes, because it just looks like a little bit more nasty. So I think I will do that here. just because then it gets a little bit more grotesque looking on the outside. It's not right. And just these tiny little teeth as well. So then it's going to really start taking form real quick once you start getting to like the teeth and the maw. This one coming out like a bit of a weird angle. So I'll give that a little more definition, because it's almost like at the moment it's a centerpiece sort of tooth. Give it a little bit of like a second spike to it. It looks like even the teeth aren't growing properly. I was about to say there's nothing worse than a creature with like really gnarly messed up teeth, but maybe a mimic with perfectly straight, like beautiful Hollywood teeth would be even worse. You're more disconcerting. And that's way too small. Make this look like its own separate little bit of metal. It'll be a bit better, I think. It just looks a little bit more raw and nasty. You have like a little baby tooth coming out of the woodwork here. So I reckon on this little corner here, you add something in after the fact. I'm not too sure about that. However, I reckon something here will be good. And what are we doing on the edge here? How you doing, Chelsea? How you doing? Just cause drawing horrific monsters from other worlds. I am very full of food. Dinner kind of got away from me a little bit. I cooked a little bit too much, but Mama didn't raise no quitter, so it's all gone, and I feel like maybe there should have been some leftovers. But it's fine because the gyms aren't open, so I can't be shamed into any of that, like overeating or anything. Other than that, the week's going pretty quick for me. I think it's Tuesday already. I feel like yesterday was Sunday, so not that I particularly suffer from like the Mondays or anything like that, but it felt like today was Monday as well. So the fact that tomorrow is going to be Wednesday, when it feels like tomorrow should be Tuesday, is going to mess me up a little bit. And then, where am I going to go next? I think we'll get this like handhold done it out the way. Yeah, New Year's was like a month ago, and I honestly couldn't tell you where the time's gone. But it's gone fast. It's been a busy year already. Like, I feel like already we've had like a year's worth of news happen, and it's not even a month in. And that's not to mention even like just personal stuff. It's no good. Better-ish. No, I don't like that. Yeah, I'll be right. So I've been taking stock a lot this week of like projects and things like that I'd like to do. And it's been a lot of trying to rein myself back in, because I am a daydreamer. So if I don't check myself, I will commit to 1,000 different projects that I have no hope in hell finishing. Like I had the thought of doing a calendar, but it only occurred to me in like November last year. It's like, I'm not going to get that done for 2021, so I've been thinking more and more what I'd want to do with the calendar for 2022. And I don't know, I think heroes based on the month, or like a monster a month or something like that, and see if I can give it some sort of a like a D&D slant. Fixes that line a little bit. So I don't know if I want to do like a D&D calendar or something like that, and have like a monster a month, and like make my own like stat blocks and things like that. So it's a calendar, but it's also like a, you know how on like TV shows like Supernatural, like Scooby Doo, you get like a monster of the week sort of thing. We end up with a monster of the month. I think it'd be really fun to do. Yeah, so I have like the January monster being some sort of like, probably like like some sort of like monster of rebirth, like a phoenix or something like that, because it's the dawn of the new year. Having like the summer months being like fire elementals, stuff like that, because you can really get wild with it and just do whatever you want, really. But I've also been wanting to do a set of tarot cards for the longest time. See, that already sounds brilliant. I love that. And I love drawing beholders, so it'd be the easiest month in the world. I think having a 11 eyes for the 11 months is brilliant. If you don't copyright that now, I might do it. Well, there's no promise that that idea stays yours. I'll have to put a special thanks in the end then. Creative help from. Always give credit where credit's due. But yeah, I've been wanting to do a calendar, because I think that'd be good fun. A set of tarot cards as well. Basically, I want to do a lot of sets of things, because I'm a sucker for collectibles. So all I want to do is draw collectibles and sets of things, and something you can like have an entire pack of, because that's what I like in like things that I collect or anything like that. So that's one I want to make. But the trouble with that is, like, rather than just releasing like a print of an image, you release like a tarot card deck which has like 20 odd cards in it. You're doing 20 different illustrations, so it very quickly snowballs out of control. Oh, I'm drawing in white. So it's been a lot of sort of sizing up my my wants to what I can feasibly do and what I can give the time to. See, I like that as well, having Tiamat for May, 5 heads. See, I think March could be like Cerberus or Chimera, yeah, it's a Chimera for the 3 heads. This also sort of leads into like what are the 5 days of 5 days or 12 days of Christmas, but it's all D&D monsters. On the 10th day of Christmas, my DM gave to me 10 kobolds in a trench coat, pretending to be a man. So I've had an idea for like an adorable set of things I want to do, and it's just called Dungeon Snaps. And it's basically like a set of holiday photos, but they're all taken by a set of adventurers. So it's all like proper holiday snap things. So like someone mid meal or like at the beach, things like that. But it's a set of adventurers like like the bard taking a selfie in front of like the party fighting a huge dragon, like actively not contributing to the fight in a very bardish way. I think it'd be a lot of fun to do and kind of adorable. Oh, yeah, I'm gonna end up drawing the back and then have to draw the front again if I'm not careful. So I might have to draw this lamprey style mouth first before the top of the chest. Like that, and bring this around here. Yeah, so like at the proper tacky like tourist trap gift shop, but it's at the beginning of a dungeon. Like, so it's like the orc barbarian getting proper suckered in by like a goblin salesman that's just repurposing, or like the clothes and stuff from the local villagers they've been stealing. See, it's an idea that has, I think it's got like a lot of legs. See, what I've actually drawn here is a dolphin. See, I've always wondered about the cat bus from Totoro. Like, if anyone's started that up for D&D, because I think that'd be a great alternative to like giving the players like a house or a mansion or something like that, and give it this living, like rather than buying like a horse and cart, you buy a cat bus, and it's like a standard thing that all adventurers kind of do. They all end up with a cat bus. Basically, a wagon that will kind of defend itself if needs be. Like, they get out of the dungeon that they've just been raiding, and they find out their cat bus has run away because someone tried to attack it. So now they're running around the field with a sack full of loot, trying to like track down this cat bus. So now I need to give, I think we need to give these like a little bit of texture of, just so that each little nubbin's got a little bit of a hook to it. Oh, I'm not doing that justice. It's time for a new layer. So then I can actually give it some detail, not worry about what I've done underneath. Yeah, so that's what I was thinking. So like this will latch on and drag people into its more. So then underneath, start to rub stuff out. So yeah, so each one having like these 3 little barbs on the end that will probably latch on. And I'm not too sure I like the shape of that dolphin tentacle either, so I'm thinking I'm going to redraw that. Because I can kind of simplify it if I'm going to add on the spikes. Get rid of the background bits. Excuse me. And then, so where's this one going? This one's going a little bit further, like further towards us. No, I'm not liking that bit. I don't like any of these bits down here. I don't know what I need to do. Make that even lighter. Make that one a little bit lighter so I can see what I'm drawing, maybe. Basically, what I want to do is, so the footprint of these spikes is going to be this. Plan things out on the fly. Nothing can go wrong, surely. Famous last words. Yeah, okay, the hair changes like every month. A new week, new me. How you doing, Caleb? You good? El excelente. Good. I'm glad. Was it? It sounded more Italian to me. It's the problem being bi. We can't tell any of this stuff apart. It's either English or it's American or it's European, and that's it. I think we have what we want now. So I just need to clean up these bits back here. And we should have a nice horrible lamprey mouth. See, a lot of this is just making me want to draw more Among Us fan art. So I really like doing the imposters as proper like John Carpenter style nightmare creatures. Do some nasty, like, almost taste bud like bobbles to really solidify that this is a mouth. Got a nightmare Patrick Star. Then do I want to paint more drool on that? Like with the Beholder from last week. I don't know if drool is going to be like the running thing. That and like Nightmare Tentacles is going to be the theme of these guys. It's just a shame the theme has to be so horrifying. Why can't I just draw nice things, Caleb? Why is it always nightmares? I suppose if this inspires someone to like give to charity or like volunteer somewhere, then you know what, I think that's a win. I think this is really, like, giving me a hankering to go watch The Thing again. I have to remember if it's on Netflix or not, so I can watch it at work tomorrow. You're damn right, you're watching history. I feel like, Caleb, I should hire you as like a salesman or like a hype man, or at least like a promise maker that I can never live up to. Yeah, like an ambassador. Like, look at Adam. He's making things that have never been seen, like never quite been seen before. Well, that's a beholder or that's a mimic. Like, yeah, but no one's seen that beholder before. Well, yeah, you're technically right. So, paycheck. I imagine that's how people get paid. People just look at you and just go paycheck. I don't know if it's any more formal than that. It is exactly like a baby. I made a new human that no one's ever seen before. Oh, neat. Is it the same as the other ones? It's mostly the same, but it's a little bit different. I mean, it did come from my brain wrinkles, so it's even more horrifying. Got more bots. This is how we know we've made it. I don't know if there's anything I can do for that. Let's have a look at community. What's this? Moderation. Block hyperlinks, that'll do. That's all we need. So if you want to become famous, absolutely listen to any shady bot that talks to you on the internet. That's how all the big guys made it. I'm kidding, don't do that. The first rule of making it big on the internet is not forcing it. People are very good at sniffing that out. Yeah, you got to try hard, but not let people know that you're trying hard. It's a very delicate balance. So whereas I'm trying to act as casual and carefree as possible in order to get horrendously famous, I'm actually trying really hard. Like, sweating buckets hard. in the hopes that no one notices how hard I'm sweating. Welcome to Adam's How to Make It Big on the Internet. I have maybe 20 followers on Twitch and like 100 on Instagram. I'm basically the Kardashians at this point. In excess of 100. Basically Bill Gates levels of fame there. Excuse me, don't you know who you're talking to, but we are big deals. Everyone in this chat is a big deal. Like, do people not know? I don't actually. I am a massive old man when it comes to like the internet and things like that. I feel like I am. I'm too boomer in a lot of ways. Like, I mean, I don't own property, so I'm not quite that level of boomer. Back in my day, TikTok was Vine. I'm still salty about Vine dying. It did. I mean, yeah, it's not perfect. It was never perfect. No, I've been slowly adding more and more like social media streams to like my online presence. I feel like TikTok is like the final frontier for me because I don't have much like YouTube video experience. So even Twitch, in that it is video, but there's not much video editing, is flying by the seat of my pants. So if it's something I like gave the energy to like sit down and really learn, I feel like I can give it a good go. But it's sitting down and actually figuring it out. I feel at the moment like I need to get a good base somewhere for my online presence. I don't want to spread myself too thin and have like 2 followers per platform. I'd rather have like a few, like 3 or 4 platforms I use properly, like Instagram, Twitter, and Twitch, and have that be my hub, and then have more and more platforms integrated in later on. I was thinking about OnlyFans actually, because one of the things I kind of want to do for this year is a Patreon. So it's some way of like monetizing this and actually getting a paycheck for all the time I'm actually putting into this. And Patreon and OnlyFans are basically the same platform. And there's nothing. I had a look the other day, and there's nothing in like the rules or anything like that it has to be for porn. But I think saying that I've got an OnlyFans would be a great little thirst trap of like, oh, what's he doing? Oh, it's just his Patreon again. I like I like the annoyance that that could potentially cause people that are looking for like scandalous or salacious content. If you sort of dupe people into going, all right, I'm horny, and then there's me going, hey, do you like fucking beholders and D&D? Well, that's what I've got, so take it or leave it. That beholder was naked, and absolutely, like, it's a trap. That's all I want to do really is mess with people that are trying to support me. You know, you can never take a compliment properly. I was like this far into the starfish butthole. I was like, yeah, that's a butthole. That's just straight up a butthole. That's the true horror of a mimic. It's not getting eaten. It's just getting a little pug. When you're in the middle of a dungeon, it's not what you want at all. What's that going? But that's what we draw like these horrific monsters for, really, is pretending like hiding things in the picture. Nope, what am I doing? I invite. I want to merge it down. I think stomach acid would be a good idea. I haven't, but I did read of a tattoo artist that used to hide dicks in the tattoos he did, which is not okay. It's not something you want to do, especially not something you want to get found out for doing either. Oh yeah, balls and P.F. Griffin's chin is just like, it's so McFarlane at that point. It's I'd be more surprised if there wasn't, to be honest. So it's that corner is getting away from me a bit here. I don't know quite what I'm doing or where it's going, so I'm gonna come back to that bit. We're gonna go somewhere else in the image for a while. This is usually what I do. If I find myself like drawing myself into a corner, I'm not quite sure how I'm gonna get myself out of it. I'll jump to somewhere else, somewhere a little bit easier in the image, and then we'll come back to it at a later date and see if I've got any ideas then. No, I made that too straight. I want to add some teeth onto this. I've got teeth down here. So yeah, if I sketch out like the stomach, proper stomach bile green. So I'll draw it something like that, so run down here. So I could make it really gooey. How much goo? Where else do you think the stomach acid is going to come from? So I'm thinking something like that, and then I want something like a little bit dribbly on the actual chest itself. Put that in the... I'll group these up so you hide them stuff together. Nobody likes a leaky butthole, Caleb, I know that much. Some people just have to deal with it. It's part of the nature of man. As some people get leaky buttholes. So I need more teeth on the front here. It's almost like building like fangs, because you've got these two down here, almost creating a little bit of symmetry. I want to have two up here, creating another set of fangs. Because it won't be the biggest thing in the world, but I think it will add a lot of sort of readability of the creature. Give it some wisdom teeth. Yeah, that's why it's angry. And I'm down for giving any of my pieces like a set of googly eyes. So you saying wisdom teeth just reminds me of that whole post of the sharks with human teeth. And it's one of my favourite things I've ever seen on the internet. It's truly like in that realm between just magic and awful. I don't think we've got enough teeth here. Get this bit out of the way as well. So it's something I've always been remiss in drawing in previous mimics is the latches on front, because anytime I start to look at something like a mechanism it has, I start to go, not sure about this. I'm an artist, not an engineer. I don't know how all this mechanical stuff works. So now this can go up here, and that transforms into a dotted line because you're seeing that. It was a little bit further up. Two little beady eyes. I might put some on the side here as well, just so it enforces it as like a otherworldly nightmare. Too spooky is absolutely right. I'm actually excited for Halloween this year. I'm already thinking, like, what can I do with Twitch on Halloween? Being such an enthusiastic spooky boy, there's got to be something. Do like a, what can I draw? I might just keep it simple. Might just draw a fucking skull. I don't draw enough of those things. I'm gonna turn off that bile yellow there, because that was proper playing with my eyes. feeling that bit. And I know that's going to make it 10 times more difficult to colour when it comes to putting some colour on this. So I've got a lot of the line work done. It's just that inner, like the roof of the mouth, and then some detailing on the wood, things like that. Well, no, this has gone actually pretty quickly. I get the kind of treasure this hold. The friendship you made along the way, as all good adventures have. No, I'm kidding. It's fucking gold coins and stuff. It's cold hard cash you can sell back at town for rad magical items and favors at the local brothel, obviously, because it's a D&D game. The friendship we made along the way. No. The only thing is the patsies you made along the way. People you can throw under the bus next adventure. Oh, Caleb, you charmer, you. I'd never throw you under the bus. Run you over myself. That personal touch that I reserve for you, Caleb. Can't believe you'd suggest that'd be so impersonal. To allow someone else to run you over. So I'm just filling this with as many teeth as possible, and I'll work out where all the flesh folds go afterwards. And that is, lucky viewers, the kind of terminology you get to listen to. Flesh folds. So I always say when someone says like, "Oh, how do you learn to draw?" It's like, you got to pay attention to the flesh folds. What else? We want more teeth. That tooth doesn't fit. I was thinking the other day where like what talking of like treasure that mimics hold. Like, should they hold treasure? Should they just be traps for players to realize that the DM is out to get them, or nothing is as it seems? And they got me thinking of, well, every party I've ever DM'd for want to collect monster bits. That seems to be a universal truth amongst adventurers. Which is a nice little, like, here you go. I was holding this for a friend, and shuffles off. There used to be in well, just like 5 minutes of really awkward, like, huh, huh, huh. I like, that's exactly how I play it. It's never gonna just be and the mimic vomits. No, it's gonna be a long drawn out description of the mimic arcs what you could think might be its back. It sort of pulsates and like blows up, and then like depresses like a raisin. And just there's like and it's just the pole part of a spear coming out, like, bonk. Cat's puking the desk. I will absolutely Google that later on. YouTube that. And that is exactly how I will describe it. It sounds so good. But there used to be in, I think it was like second or third edition, the more common version of a mimic that you'd find is a intelligent mimic, so one you could talk to. The actual, like, just base, it's a monster here to attack you, predator sort of mimic was actually rarer than your normal mimic. And I think it was called like the common mimic, and that mimic was someone that was intelligent enough to talk, and you could potentially like barter with, or say like, hey, if we just feed you a bunch of meat, can you let us go through the dungeon about our business? And it might be chill enough to go, yeah, you're alright, yeah, go on through, have fun, guys. Or it might be sort of like, boss says, what's the password? So a mimic with more personality than just violence in the shape of a chest, I think has been sort of lost over the years. I think it's probably time it makes a comeback. I was absolutely going to have a lisp, because a lisp is just like a very like whistly, like meat sort of sound in a weird way. And what are mimics? Meaty. I used to run a game where the Adventurer's Tavern, the actual bar that you'd lean on to like order a drink or anything like that, was a giant mimic called Tabs. And you'd never give money to the barman. You'd always pay your tab. and what you do is you place the coins on the countertop, and the mimic would slowly sort of like shuffle the coins back to a tray at the back, and then it would release your drink to you. So if your barman like poured your drink, put it on tabs on this bar, and you try to take it without giving any money, it would use this adhesive trait to just stick it to the bar, so you can't take the drink, like without really struggling for it. In which case, by then, it's causing too much of a commotion. So it really was like the best anti-theft device a D&D pub could have. It also helped with like anyone trying to give the barman any guff. Like the barman would just stay behind the bar tabs, and then anyone wanted to start a fight really had to lean over the bar to get at the barman. And by that point, you're leaning over a live mimic that's being fed by this man. So it's like, maybe don't. Like, you'll lose the arm. You're not gonna take that home with you. It's one of my favorite uses of a mimic in a game. I do like all these homebrew mimics as well that are just giant in scale. Because, especially nowadays, you never want to hide a mimic as a chest. I feel like the chest mimic like this is either there as like a nod to D&D games gone by, or like things like that. Like a mimic butt plug, horrifying. Like, absolutely the cruelest weapon known to man. Or a really, really valid anti-assault weapon. So you want to hide the mimic as something else. And I think having a suspicious number of mimic statues around a dungeon is fantastic. Because the party are going to assume every single statue is a mimic. Because it's obviously a mimic. Because it's very unapologetically just a statue of a mimic. But then, of course, it's not a mimic. The pedestal the statue is on is the mimic. And therein lies the true evil. Given that the sort of meaty sort of ribbons that the beholder had on his tongue. So I feel that really gives it like another sickly sort of quality to it. I prefer that line. What else have I hidden a mimic as? I ran a Halloween one shot, and it was titled to me on my Google Drive, but not visually to my players, as Mimic House, and that's the reason why I didn't tell the players what the title was. Is because the entire house was a mimic. The stew pot was a mimic. Everything was a mimic. Of course, the party only ever found this out after they'd gone inside. But the realization as the walls start to convulse and sort of throb, and teeth and eyes start protruding out from every wall, floor, and everything in between, was fantastic. It gave me great delight as a DM. But as ridiculous as the Mimic House was, the most terrifying thing was in the basement of this Mimic House was a laboratory that someone had set up, experimented on mimics, trying to sort of force an evolutionary jump, and essentially try and make humanoid mimics. So if you've ever seen Full Alchemist Brotherhood, the horrifying like white zombie-esque things that just survive everything. It was basically a basement full of those, but they had like mouths, like they all had a mouth, but they were all in the wrong place. They're humanoid shaped, but they'd be like a mouth across the chest, so like their entire torso was all flapping in a very like what you call it, Resident Evil way. Again, I do a lot of body horror apparently very well in my my D&D games. I think there's a lot of stuff that I don't do very well in areas that I can improve, but apparently where I excel is disgusting things. I'm going to put on a new layer because I'm not quite sure how I want these to go. But something truly nasty, I think. Almost like insect-like. Or do I want something like little beady eyes? I don't know what you think in the chat. The sort of the horrible sort of almost spider-like reflections on the left-hand side eye, or the little beady, maybe even red like almost Terminator style eye on the right. Because I'm not entirely sure of either. I'm thinking the Terminator one, to be honest. It's a tiny little glint. At this point, we'll hide all the background stuff. Something I did want to play around with was an actual padlock being bust off, like here. Nah, I don't think so. It just complicates things, if anything. But now, do we go on to the dribble and drool? Where does this one go? Just a little bit of ick. I'm actually not happy with that shape at all. That was all rubbish. We can do a lot better than that. We can do so much better than that. There we go, that's a lot better. So that's fine. That is that now. So for consistency, I actually need to check back with the beholder last week because the lines in between where the spit sort of joins the mouth. What did I do with that? Was it like a dotted line, or was it? I think it was dotted. That's way too thick a join. Yeah, that seems a lot more. That seems right. Much better. There's some detail in there as well. It's not much, but I think it means it makes it a lot better. There's scuff marks on these. Sort of sells it as being a different material to all like the goo and the meat, the tentacles. Because metal gets scuffed. Revolutionary, I know. But it just helps sell as it's got like a different surface. Just a little bit better if it's there than if it's not. these little finishing touches before we call this finished for tonight. You say that chest, I had to seriously rein in how many chest jokes I was gonna make on like the stream notification for this. Like, wow, look at that chest. Like, tonight we're just gonna look at chests. Like, appreciating a good chest. Like all that sort of stuff. Alright, I think we will do the outline as well. Because that won't take too long. Do another thing. So this, if you've seen me work before, you'll know it's just to make the character pop off the paper. And it's like one of the final sort of line work things I do. And this one will be a lot easier than the beholder. Because it's a much easier shape. Where am I going? What's that's inside? This is outside though. And this bit over here. This mess of tentacles down here. Yeah, how do we like our black lines? Thick. Dummy thick black lines. Can't be giggling like an idiot now. such a charmer. Just raw, unfiltered charisma. In the playlist, I think it was. Let's go again. One big continuous line. Almost. I think that's it for the evening. So next time we will get the shading done, weighting all the lines, so creating some proper depth, and then get the colour done. And I'm thinking similar to the Beholder from last time, of going for quite ridiculous colours, and then really have them all tied together. But I think that's it. Thank you so much for joining me, guys. Hope you had a lot of fun. I know I did. And have a good evening, and I will see you guys later. Goodbye.